Greetings, everyone. Rev.Hawksblood here, calling from the Big Island of Hawaii. Lots going on. Got a lot to get into. Co-host is here and healthy and wealthy and wise. I'll let her say hello. Hello, how are you, Dina?
Hello, Tommy. I'm fine, thank you. I'm Tina Bird here in the UK in Southampton, and you can find me and ET Garrett on Facebook. And I'm here every week with Tommy. How are you over there in Hawaii, Tommy?
Everything's good here. I got some cool news today. Uh, the sky here in Hawaii has been cloudy every night for the past 2.5 months at least. I get to see stars maybe for 5 minutes, if that, if I'm lucky. So yesterday and today, it was clear. It's been really cold. It dropped down a little, and I guess that's what's keeping the sky a little bit more clearer today. So I went out 2 days ago, and I filmed about five ships going across the sky, which was really cool. But I went out this morning. We're right in the middle of that meteor
Oh,
shower.
Prison, yeah.
I saw two, but I didn't see a lot of them. I mean, it wasn't super quick, but I couldn't see it at the main time because it was cloudy. But when I went out this morning, I made a little deck that I could get up onto my roof. And I'm laying back on my roof, and I filmed this ship going across the sky. Guess what it does? It goes in reverse and goes back across the whole sky.
What?
I filmed it, so I have it. I didn't download it on anything yet. I got to talk to my one friend first about it. But just so for those people saying, "Oh, it's a satellite. Oh, it's a satellite. Oh, it's a satellite," it's not a satellite. So I'm happy about that. I have a meteorite which I take out with me, and I took it out with me this morning. And I said, call in all your friends, because the meteorite's a lot older than everything else on this planet. So I have one that I use for medical work. And I talked to it, and I stuck it in my pocket. I brought it out me. Then an owl flew right over my head. And I always know that when I see an owl, just like the movie, which is kind of bizarre, I always get some really cool UFO stuff going on. And then right after that, the ship started coming across the sky. I'm filming it. I said, wow, it's almost across the whole sky. And then it turned around and went right backwards and went back across the whole sky.
Wow.
I filmed it for about 3.5 minutes. My camera shuts off like every 3 minutes automatically, but it keeps going and it puts it on another frame kind of. So I have it on 2 frames. So it's a total about maybe almost 4 minutes. But I'm so happy I got the whole thing. So the title, if you read it, anybody, the title for today is going to be how we're going to deal with the lies, because I truth beyond the illusion. The illusion is basically what everybody hears. We hear it over and over again, story after story. And I have to keep saying this. We're past Roswell. It's an old story. It's like talking about World War I. What are we going to do about it? Nothing. Can it help us? No. So all these people, all these big name speakers have to talk about that. And then they talk about it like they've been there. Oh, wow, this came, and this, and I said, wow, were they there? No. Do they know anything about the facts? No. So the one person that I'm talking to was good friends with Barney Hill and her and her husband. And he was younger when his family was close to them, but he got to listen to the whole story and everything. So it was quite. Might be bringing him on soon. I'm not sure. We shall see. I'm supposed to talk to him tomorrow, and then we'll see if he wants to come on or not. He listened to our show. He dropped in and said, "Well, he liked the show and stuff." So, people, we're going to be dealing with the only thing we can deal with, the truth. Now, I listen to every show I can. I write letters, and I'm kind of saying to myself, these people probably have such a big ego, they don't even want to listen or read somebody else's stuff, and they probably don't. I mean, if it says anything positive, if it says you're super great, I'm sure they'll read it. But if you say, well, what are you telling this for? They just chalk it off. Now, there's big name people that I've been really on top of, and too many of them are on TV and in the movies. They have no experience with what they're talking about. All right. Tina has more experience than I'd say any other UFO abducted person, and she's aware of a lot more than most of those people, has a lot more proof than most of the people. I told somebody about the operation, and they go, well, the video's not here, so it's not real truth. I said, if we got the president to come out and say, okay, release that video, we might get to see it. But it's really there. It's not like it's not there. Oh, it's still not proof. This guy claims to be God. I think I told you that. So it's really hard dealing with a person like that. And then he said, whatever happens, well, they asked me for my opinion and I gave it to them. I said, but if they didn't listen, I guess they don't assume your opinion's worth 2 cents. But I'm bad. I tell it like it is. I don't put stories on top of stories to cover up the truth. My first book, How to See God, is a really important book to get the foundation. My second book, When Truth is Called Crazy, well, it's my life. It's my biography. And it's based on the facts that I went through and how everything I did and everybody called it crazy, said what I did was crazy or this, that, everything's crazy. And it's only after I'm 68 years old. And it took that long to get that topic even out there mainstream. But there's still no truth about aliens and UFOs. All they put out there in all that time is a tic tac. Come on, people. We're beyond tic tacs. We don't need it. All the big name speakers. I've been trying to get in touch with Alzando and Lewis, Mr. And I can't get them. And I'm getting to the point where if they don't get back to me in a period of time, I'll put them on my chalk list, meaning they're liars. Because if they can't talk about the truth, and I realize, and I realize this, he hasn't said anything important. All he ever talked about was tic tacs. And it's like, let's prove in a tic tac. Let's prove a tic tac. How about proving a real ship? I mean, a person in the Navy, I met his wife and his daughter, and they saw all the pictures and everything else, and they arrested him. They put him in jail. They framed him for murder, and he's still in jail. But he had pictures of the ships coming out of the ocean. Oh, you think they want to release that? Of course they don't. But to say that we're not sure if who made the ships, where they're coming from, but they're probably made on Earth. The biggest lie they can tell you.
So I've got a question there, Tommy. So if people say that, and when people say that, it makes a mockery of human beings' history. Because if that's the case, I take it they had aircraft carriers and they had mechanics back like 2,000-3,000 years ago then, and factories to manufacture them. Because how did UFOs exist thousands of years ago where we didn't have aircraft carriers and mechanics and navies and air forces and intelligence to build all this, let alone smelting factories to make the metal and iron ore core, deep drilling and stuff like that to get the metal, to make all this stuff. So when they drew all this stuff and UFOs and pictures in the sky and all this oral history, it's all lies then. They had to wait to modern times to come up with that, did they? Let's wait for them to invent airplanes.
That's so right on. And these people that don't realize, well, they had... A lot of people still talk about, well, they were made in Russia or they were made in China. Really? Their technology is that advanced? It is not. Nobody's advanced on this planet. I mean, we talk about being so advanced. Well, what they show publicly in the United States, considering we were working with aliens for a long time, it's not even half of what's really there. So
yeah, but we haven't made biological advances. All they managed to make in Wuhan is the COVID-19. They haven't managed to cure AIDS. They haven't managed to cure the bubonic plague. They haven't managed to cure cancer.
Do you know much about AIDS? Do you know much about it? It was created for a reason.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
And I'll tell you a quick story. Not that I want to go off topic, but I lived in Jersey, and that's right next to New York. And that's where it started spreading. All right. Now, what they did, they had all the prisoners in prison with it. They gave it to them.
In Jersey, they got it from apes or something, didn't they?
No. Let me just get it this way. All the people in the prison had it. So what they did, they took groups at a time out of the prison out of Jersey and shipped them all over the United States to all the other prisons. They had to have the same amount of people dying at the same time. They couldn't just let everybody die in one prison. So this way made it look like it wasn't a specific place where it came from. I mean, New York, we just started getting into the whole gay movement, and it was like pushed upon them as well. So the government, the white government, which I say, well, I'm not going to say the names because you're from the country. But
hell no, hell no! Stop right there. Let's just look at the comments at what John has said in the room, in the chat room, before I give you a slap through the screen. So John in our chat room, in case you can't see it, guys.
Okay, I just pulled it up. Crazy weather. Yes, that's the other thing is the chemtrails are so bad here.
Are they?
And, well, it could relate to aliens or not, but in town, a friend around the corner from me, the one that digs into all the facts, said she saw these trails right over the whole town, perfectly straight lines, the whole thing. And there's no possible way it was a plane or a jet or anything. But when she got home, she put it online, and somebody sent her a video. They scraped the windows with a little squeegee, kind of, the particles that were on the window, and they put a magnet over it, and it was all stuck to the magnet. And then she showed me. She took a magnet out, put it on her head. It was sticking to her head. She put it on her arm. It was sticking to her arm. And everywhere she stuck it, it just stuck to it. And I tried it for me, and it didn't stick on me. So
no guys on you then.
So it's another game what they're exposing the planet to. And Hawaii is a big test spot. They do a lot of dropping bombs here, testing them and everything else.
Jesus.
I told you last week that I went down to town with my Geiger counter, and it was Geiger, the radioactive.
You told me, yeah, I managed to find mine this week.
Oh, I got mine in the, maybe I took it in. Oh no, I took it in. I had it in my car because I was measuring everything, the towers, you name it.
Yeah, I remember you said you took it out with you and it was beeping like mad.
So now I brought it in the house, but we'll let you test yourself in a little bit. You just want to test yourself right now.
There's 17 on my arm.
See that, people? Are you listening and you watching what's going on? She doesn't have a fake Geiger counter. It's not a toy. It's not a magic prop. It's going off on her body, people. Mine's not going off on my body. I'll take it out. I didn't check, but I know it won't.
It goes off on the other side of my head.
Mine goes off on the top band because the electromagnetic field and the radiation from my computer.
That's on the side of my head.
Check that out, people. Mine's going off on the top scale. Hers is going off on the bottom scale.
So bottom is micro Teslas.
Right. Mine's up to 147 though. It's getting higher lately. But went up to 165, 170. Oh, it's going up. 188, 192.
That's not good.
It's up to 200. Oh,
I need a second one. What for comparison? This is it. It's just exactly the same as what Tommy's got. It's
you got the same ones.
Exactly the same one. There it is there. I got it from Amazon. So the top is, if you see it a bit closer, the top says volts per meter and the bottom is micro Teslas. Tommy's my volts per meter, electrical magnetic fields going off. And mine is nothing that side. Oh, look, there you go. You can see bottom one going, oh God, the light, there you go. And then.
All right, people, just so you know, it's not a normal thing. Nobody believes it's possible. And we're just showing you live here. We don't lie, we don't cheat, we don't pull out fake tricks to make people believe anything.
See, if I had radiation and there was something wrong with this, it would beep all the time. It only beeps on that side of my face.
It's really bizarre. I think it has to do with maybe implants or the way they treat her.
Behind this eye.
She's losing her teeth, so the teeth don't like being next to it.
I don't go to dentists anymore. Can't stand them and frighten me to death.
She's got all the effects of radiation poisoning. People. And this isn't a joke. We're not trying to make fun of anything. We're just showing you the facts.
Good enough. That's my arm. I had a lot of problems with my arm this week. It's been hurting. I thought I pulled a muscle or.
But I want to get into a couple people out. Shows on TV right now about ghosts, spirits, demons.
Armpit 16. Sorry, go on, Tommy.
Bigfoot, and we also have a lot of alien shows on as well. And I watch all of them. I'm trying to see if anything really important is coming out of them. Still waiting. They said they killed the Bigfoot. We're going to find out what it is soon. That'll probably be by next month. But as far as the UFOs, nobody wants to confirm a UFO. All right. If you have 10 people, obviously it's not somebody's twisted story. Now, when we hear things like, oh, it's this, and all the things the government comes out with, they make up incredible stories if they have to.
Tommy, I think, sorry, it's all a crop because this is my theory, right? I'm laid in my bed one night and the man across the road robs a bank. Okay, someone robs a bank and there's a man out across the road walking his dog. The next morning, the police come and arrest me. There is no CCTV to be had. I don't have an alibi because I've been asleep in my bed. I go to court and this man's testimony convicts me of robbing a bank and I go to prison for 10 years, even there's no evidence and no money. Just on his say-so of a description that roughly fitted me. Because there wasn't 10 or 12 people in my room to see me asleep, I am found guilty. This man has no other witness. He's on his own and just gives a description of what he sees. That is evidence in a court of law. So when an abductee says that they've been abducted or someone sees a UFO and they give a description, they're suddenly called nuts. But if I was to say I saw a bank robber, they'd take that as Bible and I'd lock somebody up in prison. How is that any different?
Difference is they only want their truth. They don't want the real truth. If it fits what they're trying to push on us, they'll use it. Now,
yeah, sorry, go on.
What they're releasing to us about the UFOs, if you listen to all the stuff that came out over the past couple months, it's all about a tic-tac, and they're saying they don't know if it was made where on a planet. But they're not going to say it was made in space. They're not going to say it came from space. Now, I've been watching UFOs and involved with them all my life, and so is Tina. So it's not like, well, we're making it up, we're having a bad dream, any of those kind of things. But the serious problem is, I knew when I was little, ships could travel close to the speed of light. All right, by the movement, by what I saw. And I just proved it today for myself that I actually have a video that it's not a satellite, people. And that's going to be eye-opening because everybody says, oh, it's a satellite. It's a satellite. No, satellites can't go backwards. They're not a ball of light.
Satellites don't traverse inside our atmosphere, people.
And the other thing is, all right, I didn't film it. I mean, I wish I did. I shot a laser at a ship. It was a white ship, and it turned green. I hit it with a green laser. And it stayed green for about 2 seconds, and it turned back to white. Started moving across the sky, and I hit it again with the laser, and it turned green again. Now, what technology would we be using to do that anyway? And why would we want to do that? Oh, man.
Technical issues, people.
Get off the camera and shut it off.
Only on our show. And yes, John, I do need Faraday protection. But I've come up with a little configuration of my own. I'm going to try. I don't live far from an airport. Well, a little while away. So I lived here all my life. So I know I don't see planes. I know I don't see helicopters. There's a naval base down the road. There's quite a few things about. And so I know what I see when I see it. But I do know for some reasons UFOs don't like the sonar. Is it sonar?
They don't like a lot of things. They don't like radar. They don't
radar.
Like
so I'm going to combine radar with a Faraday cage, and I'm going to put a smaller version around my bed to stop little buggers coming for me.
Well, that might work.
It is. I've given it a lot of thought. So not to, I'm not going to plug it into the maze. It's going to be battery operated.
I have a
But
friend.
they're going to battery and I'll be, you know, power cut and I'll be buggered.
There's a lot of things going to happen starting this week. It could change the world. I can't go into the details yet. We'll see. But we have people out there trying to find the truth. I mean, I'm glad we do. But I mean, I had to bring this up because I watch all the ghost specials, the UFOs, the entities, monster shows, and they all pretend they want to see a monster, they want to see a creature, they want to see a ghost. And when the ghost comes out, guess what happens? They run. I said, how do you get in a field like that and you're afraid of what you're looking for? Obviously, if you're afraid of what you're looking for, you can bring serious trouble to yourself. It's like playing with a Ouija board and have no protection, don't know what you're doing, and try to call demons or, well, call something in. You don't play with things you don't know, especially if you don't know how to protect yourself from it. I mean, when I was little, I was protected. Now, Tina, on the other hand, was not. They came and got her.
Thanks, Tommy.
But the truth is there, people.
You're laughing at my misfortune, aren't you?
Yes, she's been in trouble with certain little people, and well, they're happy. I'm sure they're happy they got her because they keep coming after her. Some people, I'm sure that if they don't eat them, they just discard them.
Yeah.
But, people, there's these stories that are out there, all these shows. Watch your money. All right, there's conferences 2-3 a month now. If you want to do something with your money, do something really constructive with it. If you need to hear about UFOs, tune in here, ask us questions, and we'll get you the real answers. Those people
Whether you want them or not.
They go out there and they promote the same stories over and over. You're going to go to a UFO conference. You're going to hear about Area 51. Like you don't know. Like it's not per se. It's over. It's gone. It's gone. How about what's happening like today or yesterday or what's really going on about all the numbers of people disappearing?
Yeah. There's huge amounts lately.
That should be a big concern. I'm not saying the government's not involved with a lot of stuff because they are. But on the same token, they're not at the numbers that's happening, like in the state parks.
I would like to know, with all these, I'm really interested. Last couple of years, the state of Alaska has really caught my eye in the news. Now, I was watching a documentary about gnome and one about polar bears and about different parts of this specific state in Alaska. Now, they're saying over a period of 2 or 3 years, just in this one state, 33,000 people went missing. Where the hell? So in the winter, they can't see them because of the ice and snow. When the summer comes around, there's no bodies or bones to be found. Where the hell are these people? That's in 2 or 3 years. How many people have they lost in 10 years? And where are the bodies? If you can't walk out minus 45 snow, I don't care who you are, you can't walk for 50 miles over mountains, across the rivers and lakes with no dogs, no food, no clothes, and no shoes on your feet. They would find you within the same town that you left in. So when the summer would come round, all the dead bodies would be underneath the snow.
Well, something's happening. We had a meteor showers. We just went through it. But if anybody watches earthquakes, it's been the worst week in the past 20 years now. If you see what it did to Hades, we're talking, they said 20 people, then they said 100 people, then they said 1,000 people, and the numbers just going up and up and up and up. We'll never get the real numbers, but by the same token, there's certain areas that are having super earthquakes all the time. Now, the island called Sandwich Islands down.
Yeah, that's Sandwich, yeah.
They're having earthquakes for the past week, lots of them every single day. Alaska had the biggest one they had in a long time as well. So the past week that went down, I looked at them. I was surprised that Hawaii wasn't affected by any kind of tsunamis or anything, which we weren't. And my belief is, if we don't get a tsunami, This is just my belief, people. I don't care what people out there say. It's only what I feel. If there's no tsunami, it's government made. All right. A natural event causes certain things. When it's not natural, it does different things. Because
I will you on that. When they took me to that planet to show me what they was doing on this planet or where we came from, there were beings in these bubbles. I know it sounds crazy. There were beings in these bubbles underneath the water, loads of them, and it was like a scientific thing they were doing, and they were looking at volcanism underneath the sea, underneath the water, really close to underneath the sea volcano. Now, whatever they did, it caused that planet or our home planet or whatever you have to implode or explode, whatever you want to say. And they're saying that there's other planets that have died because of something that's affected their volcanism. It's the same as Mars. If they started all the volcanoes on Mars or polluted it like they have the Earth, it would be a viable planet again. So, something's either they're interfering with our tectonic plate movement and our volcanoes for a reason or their reason. You never know what's going on. Sorry, Tommy, carry on.
I could only give you a little bit on this information. There's 2 races in Hawaii, alien races in the ocean. One of them's main concern is protecting the planet's fault lines and like you said, the plates to keep them from moving too much. Realize a lot of races come here, and it's not to help us, but they come here for a reason. And I say we got a lot of things that a lot of planets don't have, which they can use, including water. I watched a ship, we filmed it, the ship going into the Hudson River, scooping up water. And that's probably the worst water they should pick up, but by the same token, they did. Maybe they were testing it and see how bad it was and things like that. They care about the planet. They don't care about the people on it.
They said that there's something in the water here they like. They never said what it was. They said there's something in the water here.
Well, here in Hawaii 2 years ago, all the plankton died.
Oh, that's terrible. That's a biological disaster. It's a maritime disaster.
Puerto Rico, I went to the phosphorescent bay a long time ago, and it was beautiful. When you take a boat and go through the water lights up like Christmas, and then when you take a bucket of water and they throw it on the deck, the whole deck lights up. All the plankton there died. All right.
Do you know why?
They're not saying. See, they don't tell you. They can't tell you because they know, but they can't tell us what they know. All right. When 500,000 animals die, or when like we had the Jersey Shore,
that affect whales and sea life and fish, and
we got when like 2,000, 10,000 die at one time. They don't say why. Now, just to show you how stupid we are in Hawaii, a whale died, right? They said it's going to take 2 years to do research on it to figure out how it died. 2 years to take out a reason why the whale died? Just to show you how they lie to us. They know how it died, but they don't want to put that information out today. They like to wait till information's old and maybe something better could come along and they could blame that for it. So when they tell you stories, like when I was in Jersey, I actually drove across the United States and I stopped in a couple places. When all the elk were dying, herds of elk were dying, herds of deer were dying. And Linda Moulton Howe was on Coast to Coast. I got to call in and debate her while she was on it for about 5 minutes. Because she was coming up with the story, it's only the females and they're drinking the water from the volcano that's killing them. All right, that was her story. I said, sorry, all the elk across the United States were dying. They weren't drinking out of the water, and the males and females were dying. I met a doctor when I drove across. I stopped at a hot springs, and there was a woman in the hot springs, and I was talking to her. Her husband's the doctor that had to determine how all these animals are dying. They said they had to come up with a name. So you know what name they gave it? Mad cow disease.
What? That's your
Think how wild. No. Tell me. The government says the stupidest things because they think the world is really that stupid.
That's craziness.
All right. So again, when we had the whale, we had a fish kill off Jersey Shore, 1.2 million whales, dolphins, sharks, everything got washed on the shoreline. They never could say why, and they wouldn't say why. All right. Now, all these little things that happen, and I mean, you heard about the frogs falling from the sky, and they always try to come up with a scientific idea why. Now, I just watched TV last night, and they showed in a small town in the United States, slime came from the sky in one town. It was making everybody sick, really sick that touched it. All right.
See that case of Fatima a few years ago, where they saw the Virgin Mary and his children. I spoke to Fabio, someone. He is head of Portugal's. He was head of Portugal's military, and he did a talk over here. And they went to this town, and they said it rained red blood or rained substances all over this town. So when they sent a research team there, they collected samples from roofs, gutters, grounds, and it wasn't blood. It was this stuff that came from space. And when they put it on underneath a microscope, it was intelligent because this little thing had a tentacle on it, and it put its tentacle up for them to stop putting a little screen on. You know, the little screen, square little tab you put on top of the little strips you put under the microscope. It put its tentacle up to stop it killing it. So it was under it. It was intelligently controlled. So if they're finding intelligence in microorganisms coming to this planet, then they should be telling us a lot more what part of the universe they come from, what they're doing, what is their biological reason on Earth, how do they survive coming from space? Because we know bacteria goes up through the atmosphere and stratosphere, and under a certain size it comes down. But when it physically rains down through the atmosphere, it comes down. Is it sent? Is it meant to be here? Is it a natural biological event? It's never been seen before, never been found before, and it only was in this one little town. So over to you, Tommy. Seems to have disappeared for a second.
No, I'm here.
So there are other events that do go on.
I try to give you the full screen when you're talking.
Thank you.
Here's the thing. In Jersey, it was a disease coming from a tick, not a tick. All right. And it was a deadly disease. You got the Lyme disease from the tick. And you can't get rid of it. It's a sickness that gets in your body, and you don't get rid of it ever. I had a friend that was infected with it, and he fought for like 2 years. He got more apt to using stuff to work with the problem, but it's something you get. But I was outside, and then they said it only affects certain birds. I worked for the phone company. I was up on a pole, and I'm looking at all these dead birds on the roofs of buildings and by the sides of the pole. And that's not natural, people. And it's not what they're telling us. And then all of a sudden, eagles started dying.
Oh.
I mean, I was so sick, and I said, why don't they say something, try to prove what's going on and help the problem? But they let it disappear. So they release the antidote, or they make a time frame vaccine or drug, whatever they want to call it, a virus. Like I said, if they let this other new virus play its course, which will probably only be maybe 6 months, it'll be gone. All right.
They actually admitted today on a thing on the TV about the coronavirus coming to the UK, and they said if they would have acted sooner and had stringent more measures in place, it wouldn't have come to England, and they could have, all those thousands of people that have died, they could have saved their lives, basically.
Like I said, what Jersey did, they took all the people in one prison, put them in every other prison.
Yeah,
you don't want people dying in one place. If everybody was dying in the United States and nowhere else, they'd ban the United States. And we don't want that, do we? Well, the United States don't. The same as China. If they release it there, nobody want to deal with China, which we shouldn't be, but that's besides the point. We got aliens coming here, and all I hear is how good they are. And everybody in the UFO world is telling them how good they are, their experiences are. Now, Tina's not benefiting any way by what happened to her. And matter of fact, it's probably doing the opposite to her body and to her. So she's not out there to make money off of this deal. And she should, because she's suffering. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about her suffering because of aliens. Oh, she's crazy. It's easy to write something off when a serious problem happens. Now, I was younger, and they were testing some chemicals in the sky, and there was this big ball, red ball in the sky. Everybody thought it was a UFO. Everybody says, check it out, check it out. They say, we release chemicals, and they tell you the day after they release it. They don't tell you don't go out today because we're going to put chemicals in the sky. It's just like chemtrails. People still don't even believe that they're real. Congress people don't believe it's real.
I've seen them over here in the UK, use them over where I live.
It's mind-boggling how people are so programmed. Somebody said, well, don't watch TV. You don't watch TV, you don't know nothing. At least if you watch TV, you can see what's happening. Then you got to figure out where's the truth in it. Base it on, where do you go? Back to your pipe, or back to your cigarette, or your beer? No. Well, I've been thinking, how can we change anything for the better? How can we make anything better? How can we get people to wake up and say, we want the truth? Now, if everybody believes it's crazy, I mean, they go, well, 70% of the people believe aliens are real, but they're not here. Well, we got to change the way they think. They're here.
If they believe they're real, why do they think they are then?
Why wouldn't they be here? I mean, we got the best food probably in the universe.
We've got the best planet where we kill each other every day. We kill everything. We eat everything. We poison our atmosphere. We kill all our animals. We're horrendous to them. We kill everything in the sea. And you want to come here on holiday? And we're dying from radiation from our sun.
Well, see, we're lucky. Well, they're lucky because they're radioactive. So they're not worried about us producing radioactivity here. And that's why the government's going towards it. But who do you think's guiding the government? Who's allowing anything to happen? Like when they said the aliens stopped the nuclear boats from having power and stuff. They did it for an hour. Well, we can shut your power off if we want.
There's a big theory going round about that at the moment. They reckon that JFK was killed about the UFO program, and that he was. It really was a couple of documentaries on about it, and more than one documentary inferred that. In fact,
here's something that you should know too. Marilyn Monroe had a document in her hand 1 week before she committed suicide. 1 week before she committed suicide. She was going to tell a story about UFOs, and then she was suddenly committing suicide. Really? So, about Kennedy, well, my friend Sean David Morton, who's in jail and dying, anybody wants to hear the truth, he's a person to talk to, but he's dying, if he's going to even be alive right now. He discovered Area 51. All right, people. He was a really important person in the UFO world, and the government framed him with 150 charges that he never did. And he was a sovereign citizen, so he couldn't testify against himself. But the problem is, he has a lot of truth that people really should know. I mean, people believed him, but all of a sudden, the second he went to jail, he was a liar, and now he's a fake person. People do mistakes. People get caught up in mistakes. People get caught up in other people's lies. And he was framed like every other UFO person that's putting any truth out there. I mean, we're here. Who knows how long? We could be gone tomorrow. They might say, well, we can't let Tina show the world that she's radioactive. Or you're putting too much truth out there. But, I'm not here to hide from the world. Now, talking to my friend who claims he's God, said to me, well, you're on the right track, but you should tell people not to be afraid. I mean, that is the truth.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Well, for me, he said, I said, I'm not trying to change the world. He goes, you can't change the world, but just make sure that they're not afraid of everything. I said, no, I'm not afraid of dying because I know where I'm going. I'm afraid of living because it's toxic. And we're making it more toxic. We're doing more damage to it every day. People, look, we got a beautiful planet. I'll admit the planet's beautiful when people don't do anything on it. But all we do is contaminate it, destroy it. Look at the trees. Look at the forest. Look at the water's contaminated. Look at everything we do. And I say, people, you're so spiritual and got so much money, you want to destroy the planet. Why is that? Now, even Putin, he said he worked with 27 alien races online, on TV. But he also said he loves his country. He wants global warming. He wants to do farming 9 months a year. But he's one of the richest people on the planet. He wants his people to he has family, and he cares about his family, really. These people in Congress, these people everywhere, do they care about anybody other than people that have money with them? You know, I said we should have a government and nobody should be a multi-millionaire to be allowed to run. Second of all, when they campaign, they all should be given the same amount of money to spend. $1 million, $2 million, not $50 million here, $50 million there.
If they've got that much, then why aren't they helping the poor in America?
See,
rather than paying that, because basically you're paying for an advertisement.
It's so sad. Now,
make 50 people millionaires.
How do you say Bosco's name? The billionaire, the richest person on the planet. Basio. That's so. It's B. Well, basically, he just spent $5 trillion to go up in space.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I can't remember his name now.
Well,
$5 trillion. Oh my God! He could save the planet with that money.
He could have did. He could have helped the whole planet, at least every starving child on the planet. And he had to go up there to get his cheap drill for 10 minutes up in space.
I got mine for free. It wasn't free. It was more than 10 minutes.
Free.
Believe you me, it wasn't as nice as this, I suspect.
And if she had money, she'd pay anything to get it taken away.
Further.
People, are you looking at the world? You're looking at people. I use the words passion, lust, greed, anger, vanity, and attachment. But here's the thing, people. Aliens don't have feelings and emotions like we do.
No, they don't. So
they don't care. Like, oh, did that hurt? Oh, that's okay. Did this hurt? Does this hurt? I mean, if they got you numbed out, you can't move. You can scream with your eyes, but you can't actually scream out loud. But people, when we talk about people want to go on a ship, why? You think your body's going to be okay in space? You think you...
See, Tommy, people think that they're going to have, hi, my name's John. Take me out for a ride on your spaceship. They think they're going to physically walk onto a spaceship, sit down on a seat that's designed for midgets. Because I've never seen these things sit down in my life. I didn't see any seats on the spacecraft. I only saw these experimental kind of torture tables. And so you get comfy on a torture table that looks like an autopsy table, and let them drill a couple of holes in you where you're awake and you can watch it. And then they drill your teeth and you can feel it crumbling in your mouth. So it's what are you doing, Tommy? You're going right across the screen. What's going on?
Okay, here's the thing, people.
Take it down, Tommy. Move the thingy. What have you done?
What's happening?
You've put a thing right across the middle of the screen. You put Eugene's thing up right across our screen. There you go.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
It wasn't let me read it. I said, way to go. But here's the thing, people. The truth's there. We need to deal with it. We need to face it. Now, fear, if you're running on fear, is the wrong thing. Even in a fight, if you're going to be in a fight, the second you get pulled into the fear, you're probably going to lose the fight. You can't have that fear because it blocks your actual thinking. Soul, which what we are, the thing that controls us, that we really are, is aware. It's not stupid. Not like the brain. The brain can only function on what it's programmed to believe. If you believe aliens are fake, you're going to believe aliens are fake for a long time. So, people, it's time to wake up. Go out there. Explore. Watch the TV shows. Watch all the videos online of all these creatures coming out. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody wants to admit that they are allowing these entities in this planet and they're affecting people now. Actually, what people actually have to move out of their house. It's not like a poltergeist, a piece of paper went flying, a cup fell off. No, they're starting to burn houses and start fires and make people get deathly sick and all these things. People, this is the real world. You can pretend you're in this la-la beautiful fantasy world, which we're not in. You could say this is heaven on earth. No, it's heaven and hell. We're in a bad spot right now. And it's not going to get better easy, and it's not going to get better soon. So the fear, if you're going to live on fear and say, well, no, whatever time you have left, you should be worrying about making your life a little bit better. And the same for everybody else on the planet. I mean, if people cared more about saving children instead of bombing people, we'd be so far in an incredible world right now. But since people concerned more about getting their drugs and going out and partying, and they don't want to hear what Russia and China is doing, what our government's doing, now this whole thing, do you see the number of people that died in Haiti? That's a small
No.
island. And for that many people to die, now there's a psychic online. I didn't see him go online and talk about it. I guess he was afraid to. I wonder why. Because he goes, I predict everything over a 6. Well, you're talking about a 7.2, which was a disaster to a small, teeny island. And it killed all those people. First they said 20, 30, 60, 100, 100, 500, 600, 1,000, 2,000. And the numbers are still mind-boggling. And I said, if you're psychic.
Is Haiti, who controls, what government controls
I
Haiti? Is it
don't
independent?
know. It's off of South America, right? So it's like when you go
Surely
there.
some lovely country out there would be helping Haiti, I hope.
Well, I've been
Those poor
reporting this.
people.
I've been reporting for 2 years. Puerto Rico and Haiti and all those islands right there have been growing and growing daily with earthquakes. So now I heard China wants to eliminate the Philippines so that they want to take over that whole waterway so the Philippines can die. Oh, and this is facts. I mean, I'm not trying to make these stories up. I wouldn't be smart enough to make up these stories.
So I don't understand why they want to kill people that populate the only indigenous planet, according to half the people on the planet, in the whole universe, and kill our species. I just don't get it.
But everybody thinks spirituality is going to save mankind. I believe in my truth. Nobody on this planet is spiritual. If they were, they wouldn't be here. I mean, if you can go to a better place, why would you stay in hell? I mean, if you're looking at people and starving and cursing and lying, cheating, beating, every kind of bad thing possible, it's not like that in the higher worlds of God. It's incredible. So if you could even touch that once in this lifetime, you'll have a desire to move on. Well, Jesus came here. He didn't come here to tell everybody to stay here. He told everybody that where they go in the higher realms in the different worlds, they get better. Nobody wants to know the truth. I mean, I can go into detail, but not in this show. I will. I'm doing a workshop, people. I'll talk about that after Tina leaves, but it's going to be a workshop that nobody has ever done because I'm going to talk about truth. And I know people don't want it. I don't expect a lot of people. I want a few souls that are ready to let go of the garbage that they're carrying in their brain and put something beneficial inside it. Truth. And aliens are searching for truth. What? I mean, there are aliens watching us. And I don't know why. What do they expect to learn? We don't do anything different. We're programmed from life to death. And we live within that program. We don't create better things. And I tell people, toys are not better things and they're not spiritual. I mean, you could take a car and make it go 10 miles an hour. You can make it 100 miles an hour, 10,000 miles an hour. It's still not beneficial to the world.
We don't lead scientists around the world. I think some very old, very, very old cultures and oral traditions either harness the power or understand a lot more than we do in this modern age about, for me, like the spirit and the soul and the body are 2 or 3 different things. And from what I experienced, I had a reaction to anatomic pregnancy, and to revive me. I had chest pain, and that was it. All the lights came to get me, and it was like, you can't explain it. You don't know. The being you are is, when you go into the light, that is, we don't understand enough about death and the soul and how the soul transpires our level of consciousness and where our consciousness
Tina,
goes.
you need to come to my workshop.
I'd love to come to Hawaii, Tommy. I'd love to have a few months off work on my everyday life.
Tina, it's going to be online. It's going to be
Now,
the end of next month.
Is it like this time of night where I'm falling asleep because I've been at work 10, 12 hours a day?
Well, I'll try to make it a time that everybody can get to. But what I wanted to say is, truth is kind of bizarre. John Lennon's story is probably one of the most incredible stories. Because basically, he was creating peace on the planet. The government didn't like that. They were on top of John Lennon for 10 years. I mean, that's why he kind of kept fading out until they killed him. All right. But John Lennon also was actually abducted on a ship.
He said he saw a UFO, didn't he?
Well, he said that, but he didn't go into the details that he was abducted and taken on it. He's the only person I know that was given something from an alien race. Actually, handed it. They gave it to him. So when he came back, he was in New York City, and he was with a famous psychic claiming to be the top psychic. I had my ups and downs. I was trying to bring him on my show. I got him on my friend's show, but he made me read his book before he said, I'll come on your show, but you got to read my book first. Because he claimed he was doing the psychic work for the government. The Men Who Stare at Goats was his story, how he was sending thought forms to kill things and everything. But basically, they were in the theater in New York City, Uri Geller and John Lennon, and there was a concert going on. And John Lennon said to him, look, I have this, I don't want it. And he gave him the artifact that the aliens gave him. Uri Geller has it today. He has it on his person every single day. He won't let anybody touch it, won't let the government analyze it or nothing. But he holds on to it. I tried getting in touch with him. I wanted to bring him on. I wanted to try to say, look, you got something that nobody on this planet has. What do you want to just keep it for your ego? He drives them around in a car covered with spoons, bent spoons.
There was a chap, he was retired Air Force, or he was a cameraman or something, and he was either Polish or Swiss, I want to say. I'm not quite sure. But he lived in America, not far. He lived in a caravan, like a trailer, not far from a base. And he was retired, so he's retired military, and he'd been there donkey's years. Anyway, just before he died, he got a call from I think someone said that they'd seen him do something, or they'd seen lights. So they sent someone out to see what was going on. This bloke said that he'd seen UFOs, or he'd had pictures of them, or what have you. And they sent a team out to talk to him, two agents to talk to this gentleman who just lived not far, literally a stone's throw from the base. And just as they got up to leave, they're like, yeah, they thought he was nuts. Anyway, it turned out that they saw photographs he had video reels, and when they went back again, obviously took a bigger team with him. When they went back, and they've been visiting him for 10, 20, 30 years while he was out living in the desert, and they've been giving him objects. He had these objects they give him. He had pictures on board the craft when they allowed him to go on board his craft, which after he gained their trust. And they've never been seen from again. Surely they should be studied for historical fact, scientific fact. This, if he was chosen and befriended these beings, it's 50-50. They chose him. They obviously saw something in him. They wanted to be friends with him. He lived on his own out there, and he could prove all of this. And sadly, when he died, they went to his caravan and stripped the place bare and took what they could. So and that's even one of their military documentaries on the television. So people out there do have objects from UFOs, do have pictures when they're invited aboard craft. These are ex-military men with cameras as a professional, live in a stone's throw from a military base, and they have all of this. They had field agents down there for days and weeks taking all this stuff.
Well, what I wanted to say, that I was trying to find his name. He's big in the UFO world. He does these workshops every week and all that. He makes lots of money. He's a millionaire. But he said a magician was a psychic being. I was a magician half of my life as well. And when these people come out with that, because they do a magic trick, they say they're spiritual. Now, Sundar, I can't even think of his name. Sai Baba was a great magician. He won his fame that way. And he had one of the biggest followings on the planet. So people, it's time to look at the truth behind the lies, or the lies behind the truth that they tell you. Because very few people want to admit anything about aliens, because they don't know. They didn't get near them. They weren't next to them. They weren't in the room with them, really. I mean, a bad dream isn't the same as what Tina's going through with all the implants and everything else. Yeah, people know that people were implanted. But, now that the government's doing it as well, we got lots more problems coming out. They're actually putting chips inside a person's brain in the Army now. So they're making them completely controllable if they want to make them do something that they don't want to do without using hypnosis. The technology is getting crazy. but nothing's for the beneficial. And if alien was really good, they could try to help us, which they don't. You think in what, 30,000 years, 40,000 years probably, that the human race was here, they could have helped us instead of letting the certain alien races program us and reprogram us and abuse
Well, I
us.
feel sorry for the Egyptians. They could have helped the Egyptians. It took them donkey's years to build those pyramids and didn't have any help them, did they? That's, you know what I mean? Come on.
You
And
know,
on that note, did you know what they found out this week? They announced, it's been on the TV and on the internet news, that, oh, there's a cockerel there, that the Stonehenge stones, they took core samples, they drilled into Stonehenge a little while ago, a few years ago. And apparently, after they did this, it was a big news media thing. They did nothing with the samples. These samples, years later, were recently reviewed and looked at, and it is determined the age of the stones are over 2 billion years old. Our sun is only 5 billion years old, 2 billion years old. So how the hell did these stones get there?
you know, I here's the other thing. I brought it up already. How do they determine age? Carbon dating, if it's before carbon, they can't date it. And the only way they date a lot of things, stone can't be dated. All right. It's dated by what's on it, more what the residue on it, and what time frame that had to
Patina, is
exist.
it patina it's called or something, isn't it?
That would affect or tell what time, how old it is. But getting back to these people, when we lived here, how long ago? We know aliens have been on this planet before we have. We should be aware. Now, a friend of mine is in one of the biggest digs in the United States, and they got thousands and thousands of artifacts found in a certain place, all carved with aliens on it, and the history of aliens and all kinds of stuff. My friend bought a whole bunch of them and actually made a small little museum out of it.
Don't forget, it's got to be fake because aliens didn't exist until they bought out hardware and workshops. People,
Tina, I'll give you your time so you can do what you want to do right now. All right, it's that time.
so guys, thank you all for coming on the show this evening. Our little chat room. If you have any questions for me and Tommy, please come on. Don't be afraid. You're not normally afraid. Come on. If you'd like to come on the show, be a guest, let us know. We'll interview you. We'll give you a grilling. We like to know the ins and outs. And if you do have a answer from a previous show, we would love to hear from you. But I've been Tina Bird here in the UK. You can find me ET Girl on the internet. And there is a picture in the background there of my new book coming out. It should be out either the end of this month or mid-September. It's called The Bonded, The Truth About Alien Abduction, and you will be getting that on Kindle and Unlimited and Amazon and on download. I have my 2 other books. I'm going to withdraw them from Amazon. I'm having a problem with people selling them from Greece. So there's a company from Greece that's been selling my books. So that won't be happening for a while. So I'm going to take the Guardians of Light off and the Checkpoint until I sort that out. And then I'm going to re-release them all. But for me here in the UK, I've been Tina Bird. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week. And after next week, that weekend after, the 29th, I'm going for hypnotherapy. So we're going to be hypnotized if they can hypnotize me, and I'll let you guys know the week after what happened, what was said, and hopefully we're going to film. I'll film it, and I want to know more. So I want to be hypnotized. Whether they can hypnotize me is a different thing, but I'll let you guys know. But that's the week after next. Tommy.
Well, we can't wait. We can't wait, Tina. Looking forward to it. So, Tina, it's always a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you very much, Tommy.
I'm glad you come every Tuesday. It's great. It's been a while now. It's been so much fun. Hopefully we can do it for a long time, Tina.
I hope so too. And I'll see you next week, and I'll speak to everyone next week. Thank you very much, Tommy. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Tina.
Bye.
All right, people. I want to get into a couple things. Okay, this virus that's going around. There's so many facts that prove a lot of different things. I'm not saying it's not killing people. People are dying from what they created. All right. Oh, you saw your first alien. Cool. E.T. at long last. Great. What I wanted to say is there's a document. Somebody showed it to me 2 days ago. It's a document file. It lists all the vaccines and viruses we're going to have for the next year and a half. It lists them already. How did they do that? And how could they tell what viruses and what vaccines they're going to put out? It's all crazy what they're doing. All right. And it's not a good thing. And it's not beneficial for the human race, obviously. But there is a reason why they're doing it. And I can't say this more than anything. Pull up UN Agenda 21-30. That's what's happening. That's what's going to happen. Unless some major thing changes that reality, it's going to happen. And you're not going to like what you read, but it's probably the closest to the truth right now as where we're heading and what we're doing. So please, this virus thing, I'm not going to get the shot. You couldn't pay me to get the shot, and I'm taking any antidotes. The cure, and I'm saying this for myself, people, because if I tell you to do it, you'll try to sue me because I told you to do it. If you get the virus, the best thing to do is go to a sweat lodge or to a steam room, but you have to make sure the temperature is really high. I mean, by law, I don't think they can make it more than 105, but you needed 115 at least. And it's hot, and you can burn your lungs out if you don't breathe right. But you really need it that hot to kill the virus. It will kill the virus inside your body, and nobody wants to do that. I mean, as far as President, you know who said, "Oh, swallow this stuff and it'll kill it." Yeah, it will kill you too. But no, the truth is out there, people, and you need to start looking for it. All right, I'm going to go to a different topic before the show ends. I'm doing a workshop the end of next month. All right, people, it's not going to be that expensive. I'm making sure that somebody pays for it because they need to respect it a little bit. What they do with it is their choice, but I'm going to be putting the truth out about everything. It's going to start from birth, life, love, death, reincarnation, and leaving the lower realms up to God. So it's going to take in everything, not just one story, one part of the truth. It's all going to be put together so you can have a greater understanding of what life is and what death is, why you're here. And it's not any of the program stories or ideas you believe. People, feelings, emotions, and all those things are only real to the mind, not the soul. When you leave this body, your brain stays here, and that's what controls the 5 senses of the body. But this workshop is going to be probably at least 2 weekends in a row, 2 hours each one, Saturday and Sunday. If it goes any longer than that, I will not charge anything for the next weeks that come after that. I will give everybody a 24 hotline phone number to call for any kind of situation involved with what I'm teaching them. All right. And please, I'm not making anything up. I'm not telling anybody else's story. I'm not going to be quoting this person and that quote, not quoting the Bible. I will quote a few things Jesus said because he did say it, but it's not, half of it's not even in the Bible. All right. So there's a lot of things that will be a lot different. I'm not saying Jesus was God, people. It's not a religious workshop at all. Jesus was a real person. He was probably one of the most spiritual people ever to walk this planet, though. That's the way I put it down. He had 32 psychic abilities. He didn't even use them all. He could have, but he didn't. When I was learning how to use psychic abilities, I went through many of them. The 2 that I really wanted to do, I couldn't. But again, they're real. But people that get that power is so limited. And even the people that get it can't use it wisely enough to save mankind or help mankind in any way. This Dr. Turi on Linked claims he's an astrologer, top psychic and all that as well. He deals with everything. And he didn't want people in Hades much, did he? I always say to him, well, you can tell earthquakes. I can too. I said, we're going to have a major disaster soon, and it'll be the worst disaster. And he goes, well, by the planets and blah, blah, blah. But I didn't see him put anything up this past 2 days about what happened in Hades. Last time it was Tibet. Now, here's a country, all these so-called religious people and temples was destroyed. And then what happens? China moves in and takes it over completely. You know, I did research for many, many years, every spiritual person on this planet. Only a few of them lived till they were old. So one was suffering with a really bad disease. Most of them were killed. All right. Why? Why do you kill spiritual people? Why do you think they killed Jesus? Why do you think they kill people that are spiritual? Because the planet's not run by the great, beautiful goddess. All right. I mean, it's great belief. Women want power, and they think by giving God power, it gives them power. No, it doesn't work that way. We take whatever power we have here and use it. And if we don't do it, we don't ever get the power we deserve. Women should have fought a long time ago and stuck together. When you got half of the women selling themselves as sex slaves because they need money, the other half that don't care, another quarter that don't care, and the few that care don't have enough people to change that reality. The same is what's going on right now. Unless the world unites in a greater way, but see, I don't see how it can happen. If everybody believes in a different God, how can we unite? I mean, the Pope himself is trying to unite with the Muslim race. Really? That's interesting. Pope has no clue what he talks about or what he says. I'd debate him any second, any day. I write letters on his site every day as well. Don't talk about God or Jesus like you know them, because you don't. And I do. Yes, I do. Sorry to say that. And the facts are real simple. But again, this workshop will be like no other workshop. I promise you. The simplest technique I'll give you, which will be probably the most important technique in your life. Never mind learning why you're here. There's a lot of work to do. Don't you think that's probably the most important question you should ask yourself? Other than having a family, getting a nice house, getting a nice car, having children. How many are you supposed to have? 2, 4, 10? And all these little things that go along with it. How many cars you're supposed to have? You have to have a swimming pool. You have to have a boat, and it keeps going on. But does any of that have anything to do with spiritualism? What do you teach your children? Nothing. Have children ever been taught anything spiritual? A programmed idea about a God, a programmed idea about a religion, which are so corrupted by mankind's thinking, it's so sad. And you know how to prove it? Look at the world. We still pay people to beat each other up. Why is that? You want to outlaw something, outlaw drinking. Oh, well, no, we got to all drink because they drink. Outlaw smoke. No, we got to smoke because I smoke. Outlaw everything. And you'll have a country that's still out of balance because they can't live with what problems they have with. And that's why they smoke and drink and do drugs. But if you work on the problem, is working together as a human race. Nobody wants to do that. I mean, this great spiritualist people, I send love to the world. Really? Did it help anybody? Really? I give unconditional love. To who? Unconditional people? That they get your love unconditionally? Meaning what? They're starving in the street. What do you give them? Well, just so you know, my partner had the vaccine. She almost died for the past 2 weeks. She got the second shot, and then she got sick right after. She just got out of it. I'm glad she got out of it. It didn't look like she was going to. People, the drug world isn't about curing people. You should know that by now. You must have heard it 1,000 times. They're not here to make you better. They're here to keep you going, just to get more money from you. When they created the vaccine for hepatitis 3, well, whichever one it is, and it actually cures it, but they charge $70,000 for it. Really? For 70 pills, $70,000, $1,000 a pill? People, we're so out of balance. People are so out of balance. And while you're living here, you need to find the truth, because if you don't find it now, you're going to come back in the next lifetime, and it's not going to be much better. Planet Earth is in serious conditions. It's not going to get better. The next time you come back, it could be probably 10 times worse than it is right now. Do you want to deal with that? I sure hope not. Because when you move into the higher worlds, they're incredible people. Moving on isn't the worst thing on the planet. No, it's not. And once you do, you'll see what God created for us as a spiritual being, not as a member of Satan's army. People, there's not much time. This virus is going to be bigger. The whole thing about UN Agenda 21 is growing rapidly. Their plans and what they do. Now, how many people are still talking about the underground cities? Why not? Did the government ever go on public TV and talk about it? Never. Why? There's a building that's basically the home of the New World Order. The only one person that ever exposed that was Jesse Ventura. All right. Now, there's so many things you need to know are there in place for what's going to happen. Oh no, this ain't going. No, it took them a lot longer than they expected. I'm sure of that. But when you put up a date and things get close, it seems like you need more time always, no matter even a wedding, whatever it is. You never have enough time. But sadly, they got the money, and the money's creating the time that they need. So people, this UFO world is growing. I'm happy. I might not look it, but I'm so happy. I filmed something that I never filmed before. A ship going backwards, which means it's not a satellite. You can't say it's a satellite by any aspect of, oh, it's a satellite. No, it's not a satellite, people. And I got a free manual, how to see a UFO field manual. If you want it, text me Hawksblood1. I'll give it to you for free. It's a PDF file. It's about 200 pages. But if you want to see a UFO, I guarantee if you read the book and do what it says, you'll see a UFO. It's that simple. There's thousands and thousands of them over the planet every day, every night. So with Musk going to be putting up 2,600 satellites as well, nobody talks about what's happening. Do you think that could be a good thing for the energy around the planet? Are you aware what Gates is doing? I mean, you should be. It's not what Mr. Trump did. It's what's happening now. And the planet would be in the probably worst serious conditions ever if Trump gets in next time. And he's not going to give up on that. All right. People that tell the truth know their truth. How much of it is limited to their experiences? You could be the most honest person, but if you don't know the truth, it's not really that beneficial, because the limited truth that you have makes your truth real. And I deal with a person, that's all she says. Well, everybody has their truth. Everybody has their truth. Well, when we see these when these aliens come out and they show them to the world, it'll change reality. Because now everything I've been talking about for almost all my life is suddenly real. And then you're no longer crazy. But just think, they'll have to change that whole thing about you being crazy. You talk to aliens, you talk to God, you talk to spirits, once they open that box, all the truth will have to come out. What demons are doing, what entities are doing. It's all real. So how far is it going to go? Well, when the truth comes out, it all has to come out. Because if you go to a psychiatrist, they can't say, did you talk to an alien? You talk to God? You got people following you? If you're in the UFO world, you do. So there's all these little things, people. It's time to wake up. The UFO conferences are feeding you more and more twisted stories, useless information. Until they bring an actual alien into the room, and then that alien decides to say something, does it really matter? Oh, I channel this alien. So what? Did you bring anything important to this reality? I truly doubt it. I knew so many psychics. When I was lecturing around the United States, I got to meet so many of them. Sadly to say, the only person I ever really dealt with was the person I was when I was younger, who was one of the top psychics then. I proved every single word she said, always. Whatever she said, we'd prove it one way or another. So people, when you hear something, at least Prove it to yourself. You don't have to prove it to the world, because the world will never believe what you think is true. But if you give somebody a way to find their truth, then they can find the truth themselves. The truth does not change. God does not change. All right? It's there. Whether you want to believe that or not, that's your choice. You want to believe in your God? Well, that's why the world's pretty sick then, if you believe you're God. All right, people. I hope you enjoyed the show today. I'll put my email up there. You want to get in touch with me. If you want a copy of my book, you can get a copy of my book as well, How to See God, for free. I'm not in this to make money. I'm not in it to become famous. If I want to be famous, I just have to lie. And I can't do that. All right, I'm just sticking that up right now, people, so you have it. I do a couple shows a week, and I try to get into the spiritual side when I do a different show. That's why I got to do this workshop. It's time, people, at least if you know the truth's there, you might want to look for it. If you believe you know it, well, then you don't need any help, do you? You got everything under control. All right. Peace, love, compassion, whatever you need in your life. I hope you find it. Hope you get it. Always go a little bit further than you can. And don't believe that statement, you only get what you deserve. No, you're on planet hell. You get what goes on in hell, whether you love it or not. The more you love it doesn't change it. You could think you're on a 100% perfect streak, and then your child dies, somebody gets shot or something around you. It changes instantly all the time, and never for the better. All right. You heard it here first, heard it here last, however you want to look at it. The workshop, I'll be putting a lot more information up over the next week or two. If you're interested, text me. I promise you it'll be something that you never experienced the way you're going to experience through my workshop, not everybody else's. All right, till then, have a good day.